Hi, I'm freshly showered and ready to have opinions. Hello, I'm Jess Wagstrom, professional dabbler. I make videos about lots of different hobbies and skills to encourage you to embrace the suck and try new things. Today we are dabbling in hooping reaction videos. Yes. Wired posted a video that showed up on my feed called Why It's Almost Impossible to Spin 300 Hula Hoops at Once. And I went to click on it because I was like, oh, interesting. And then I stopped myself and I was like, wait, I am an expert in this field? I need to make a reaction video. So here we are, we're sitting on my couch. My cat, I don't want to move her, so she's gonna be here until she gets tired of me. Technically, this specific aspect of hooping is not something I personally am an expert in. This is more like circus performance hoop. It's kind of like the big end trick of circus performance. They go out on stage and for a few seconds just hoop with as many hoops as possible, and then that's the show. It's the big finale. I am more of like a freestyle dance hooper, and I usually just hoop with one hoop. In my time as a hooper, one of the number one questions that gets asked when people find out that I hula hoop for fun is like, oh, so how many can you do at once? That was my impression. I'm sorry if you've ever asked that question. That's what you sound like. It's just one of those questions that everyone wants to know for some reason. I guess that's like the one thing that people can relate to is how many can you do at once, as if that somehow makes you a better hooper. I don't know. Picking up 10 hoops and doing them all at once is more impressive to some people than like the technical tricks that I've spent hours practicing and perfecting. It's fine. So my guess is that Wired knows that the only aspect of hula hooping that normal people who aren't hoopers care about is how many you can do at once. We're gonna watch this together. First I want to read the description. For decades, hula hoopers have been competing to see who can whirl the greatest number of hoops. I didn't know that. I guess some people have been. The world record is currently 200 hoops, but could it go up? Here we go. God, I'm excited.
Hula hoops might seem like simple toys. You know, for kids. There are some people, most of them adults, who are very, very good at hula hooping. They compete for things like time spent hooping, the size of the hoop you're hula hooping. They even compete to see who can hula hoop longest underwater.
Who are these people? I know a lot of hoopers. Who's competing to see what size you can hoop with? Who's doing that? Please let me know. Hi, this is Jess from the future. It turns out that these people are typically Guinness World Record chasers. So people that are actively trying to beat like Guinness World Records. I found this video of the woman who has the record for spinning the largest hoop, and it's pretty insane. It's like this giant steel hoop. She hits herself in the face. She's a hardcore, legit circus performer. She knows what she's doing, but I think my point and the reason I reacted so strongly to this video is this is not something that your average hooper is doing. Very small amount of people who are going for these records. So it's just bizarre to hear normies, I guess, for lack of a better word, talk about hula hooping as if all we do is just try to hoop with the biggest hoop and hoop with the most hoops. Alright, back to this video. I could see hooping underwater. That would be really hard. That would be really hard. Now I want to try that. I think the hoop would also have to be full of water. I want to try this. Not today. I'm nowhere near a pool.
And then, of course, there are people who try to see how many hoops they can keep spinning.
Everyone.
The current world record is an astounding 200 hoops. But could it be even higher? Today, we're going to look at why hula hooping 300 hoops is almost impossible. I
want to know who this girl is. Did I miss her name? He said he hooped with a world record holder. What was her name?
And had my hooping abilities digitally mapped.
Oh, wow. I'm gonna bitch about the size. He's doing a fine job, but God, that hoop is small. It must be one that has more weight to it, because he's doing very well. But obviously he just trained with like the world record holder most hoops. I want to know who this person is. Surely they're gonna say her name.
The modern hoop, the hula hoop, dates back to the 1950s. They were one of the world's very first big toy fads.
I'm really curious if they're gonna show any like hoop dancers, like people doing more than just going around the waist with a whole bunch of hoops. Or if they even mention like rhythmic gymnastic hoop dance, we'll see.
Today, MacLeod the Amazing, a performer from Australia, holds the record.
MacLeod the Amazing.
The rules are simple. The hoops have to be commercially available, they have to be started by the hooper, and they each have to go around a minimum of 3 times.
Okay, so this is interesting because this is an aspect of hooping I did not know existed. So apparently there are rules. That's interesting.
In 2005, a hooper named Karina Oates broke through to triple digits. The next big jump was in 2009 when Paul Dizzy Hips Blair...
I have opinions on Paul Dizzy Hips Blair.
But MacLeod thought more hoops might be possible. You bring enough hoops together, you're talking about a lot of weight.
I have to pick up all of those?
Yeah, he is right. And I use heavy hoops. So anytime someone has like challenged me like, oh, can you hoop with all of those hoops at once? It hurts. It's really painful. So I can see the advantage to using smaller, lighter weight hoops if you're trying to do a lot of them at once. But you still have to have really strong hooping skills to be able to keep them going.
Pick all these up.
Maybe start with one, guys.
That's impossible.
I used to just count 100 and then I'd spin them, and then I was like, damn it, I can't get my arms around it. And then I remember getting the guidelines and being like, oh, you can have this diameter to this diameter.
By stacking lighter hoops with varying diameters, MacLeod was able to send the record to 160 in 2014.
Okay, this is fascinating. Like I said, this is an aspect of hooping I really don't care about, but now I want to try it. The only hooping I do with multiple hoops is like a 3 or 4 hoop split. 1 hoop on my waist, 1 hoop on my chest, and 1 or 2 hoops in my hands. And when you're doing splits like that, the common recommendation is to use hoops of the same size. So I just assumed that all of these hoops would have to be the same size. Apparently she's using different diameters. That's so interesting. That like using different sizes would make it easier to keep the hoops up. I'm learning things. I'm gonna try not to be so mad because she seems legit. Like, seems nothing. She is legit. I'm gonna look her up after this.
MacLeod even injured herself while training.
It's a muscle.
I believe that.
Around here, and I ripped like the insertion out of it at one point, which was,
Oh my god.
yeah, didn't get to train after that month.
Terrible.
She had to build a new technique, one that could power massive piles of hoops around her torso without injuring herself.
It's really cool to see how she is manipulating all of those hoops in slow motion. Like, they have a really good angle and you can really see like her body has to undulate. I really struggle to do like a waist to knee split. So like that's 1 hoop on your waist, 1 hoop on your knees, and you really have to just like serpentine snake your body to keep all of those going because the hoops go front to back. She's probably going to explain all this in a sec. Front to back motion propels the hoops. So in order to keep hoops going all around your body at all points in time, you're going to have that front back contact. So you really have to have like front. Does that make sense? I don't know. Let's keep watching. She's about to explain it.
I make my legs really strong, so it's like if someone was trying to push you over, you'd be stuck there. Yep. And then I think much more about using my core muscles and pushing every time the hoop hits me in the tummy, I push it away like a laser beam.
Yes. That's exactly how I try to teach new people, is to focus on the belly button and think about pushing straight into the hoop rather than the hip twisting. You want really solid back and forth motion. This is fun.
MacLeod gave me a lesson in hooping. First, with just 1 hoop.
There we go.
There we go. Breathe and push. You don't need to...
Still got it.
Yeah, so he was using the back and forth motion and really nailing it. I wish they were using heavier hoops, but for the purposes of what they're doing, I'm gonna let them use the line. I, Jess Wagstrom, am going to magnanimously concede that it's okay for these people to use lightweight hoops. Ugh.
You want to try and think in your mind just about the blue one, the bottom one. The top ones can skirt around and move like that, but if you keep pushing the blue one hard enough, the rest should stay on top of it. There we go. So ignore that. Keep going. Yeah.
This is fascinating, and I really want to try it. I wish I had all of my hoops. I don't have very many hoops right now to try this with.
But I was still a very long way from 200. I worked my way up to 14 standard hoops.
Here's the thing about the whole they have to be commercially available caveat. I know what tape is on those hoops. I wouldn't be surprised if they're polypro or HDPE hoops. I'm wondering if, like, ordering from Etsy sellers counts as commercially available hoops, or if, like, she can make her own. She mentioned she was making her own, I think, because the tubing is commercially available. Like, does that count? Or do you have to use, like, department store hoops? Because hers look professional. These are my questions.
And then Marwa brought out her record hoops. They're thin, and they come in 4 different diameters for optimal stacking. This is
30.
30 hoops! I just doubled my hoops. Are these the actual hoops you used?
Some of them are, yeah.
I also want to know what diameters she's using and what her waist measurement is.
Beautiful!
Then Marwa upped the ante. This is definitely more than 30, and you're not going to tell me how many it is just yet, right?
No, I'll tell you afterwards.
This was very hard. I was clearly struggling.
So I'm going to posit that the reason he's struggling right now, it looks like he's still focusing on the waist. I feel like at that point you've got to start bringing in the chest more, and that's going to require more of that swoopy, this business, whoop, rather than what he's doing, which is just the back and forth.
Third attempt. Ah, that fell apart fast.
Yeah, he's keeping his chest really stationary, and he's going to have to, like, get that chest involved.
To the naked eye, that was fine.
Yes! All right, to the naked
She's
eye,
really encouraging.
that counts. How many hoops is this?
60.
60 hoops? 60 hoops.
I was going for 50, but you smashed it. Do you want, even though you're exhausted, just to feel what 100 feels like?
Absolutely. How do you get all the way underneath? Jesus. But 100 hoops is kind of a warm-up for
Wow.
Marwa. She absolutely crushed it. Now, I know you haven't been training,
Yeah.
but how many do you think you could just do today, like right now?
I would like to think I can do at least 150.
I don't have very much commentary because I'm like, ooh, what's happening? This is so interesting. A little part of me did just, even though this is what she does, is hoops with multiple hoops, a little bit of me twitched when he asked her, well, how many do you think you could do at once? It's like my least favorite question.
Well, I've done my costume change. It's easier to hoop on skin.
Her hoops are really pretty. I almost want to try this just to have a whole bunch of pretty iridescent pastel hoops.
Marwa stacked up 150 hoops and handled them no problem.
Okay, now when she's in slow motion, she looks so graceful, like a dang cat. But when she's going full speed, it really just looks like flailing, which you have to with that many hoops, but like, it makes me laugh. It's cute.
So I took a bunch of hoops to UC Merced, where I met up with this guy.
And right, there you go.
What he discovered is that for most hoopers, there's a critical relationship between the ankles, hips, and knees that help keep the hoop spinning around the waist.
Yeah, accurate.
I'm going to ask you to do, Robbie, is to hoop a little bit faster.
When you add an extra challenge like spinning faster,
Right, so now you can see he's involving much more of his knee joint. Keep doing what you're doing.
or a mental task,
But mentally count backwards in sevens starting with the number 100. 93, 86.
things get interesting.
That's really interesting. So when I'm teaching beginners, I have this exercise I like to do where you're hooping around the waist and you hold your arms up and bring them down, up and down. And then I like to have you hold your arms up and throw one arm in front and one arm in back, which causes people to stop for a second and they're like, oh, how do, and 9 times out of 10, they lose the hoop the first time they try it because trying to think about how to move your arms and keep the hoop going at the same time is just like too much. Even something as simple as like where your arms are going is a great way to challenge yourself on how to just kind of go with the flow and like whatever your body is doing, whatever your mind is trying to tell your body to do, you can still keep that hoop going around the waist. And it's like a first achievement sort of deal. I don't know if that really ended up having anything to do with this, but this is fascinating.
I'm using my body basically from the hips down
to manage a few hoops.
Another thing I noticed, and I haven't noticed is I haven't noticed if he has been doing this the whole time, but in that last clip he was looking down, which is a great way to screw up your hooping. So if he was looking up and thinking more about his chest, he would probably be better at keeping all these hoops up.
She is actually created a very similar mirror strategy with her upper limb as well.
So by using her upper body, Marwa is able to keep...
By using her upper body. I love being correct.
Keep as many as 200 hula hoops going at one time.
To give you a sense of how heavy these are, I could barely pick up 200 of them. I couldn't stand up while holding them, and trying to get them to spin nearly knocked me over.
I believe that. Hoops are really heavy en masse.
So could we see Marwa's record go up?
I don't think we've reached a functional, maximum capacity of some kind.
What Marwa's doing is already almost impossible.
Okay, that was really interesting. Really interesting. Even though at the beginning of the video I was like, oh, who cares about how many you can hoop? Now I want to try it, but I don't have the hoops to do it. That many hoops of that quality is expensive. I'm just really curious about the whole like commercially available aspect of the rules. Like if you're making your own hoops, what are the rules? Marwa Ibrahim. Okay, so she does do more like skilled. So here she is doing a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hoop split. So she can like do multi-hoop splits. Oh, she hasn't updated her channel in a year. Wow. She was on Britain's Got Talent. Yeah, she can hoop dance. She can hoop dance, but she is mostly doing like the circus style tricks like I was talking about before. She's really good at like multi-hoops where she's got hoop split all over her body. This is the semifinals. She's a hooper that made it through Britain's Got Talent because Simon Cowell is not impressed by hoopers and Piers, whatever his name is, not impressed by hoopers. So I'm impressed that she got this far. A lot of circus performers, they just kind of throw the hoops on, do it like a few rotations, and then they drop. But she kept those up for several rotations up like above the waist, whereas a lot will spread them up and down the body, which I believe is actually a prop. Like I'm giving away secrets here. I don't know all the details on this. I know that some performers use what's called a hoop slinky, where the hoops are all connected with like a fishing line. They keep it up for a few seconds and then just drop it. So if you ever see the hoops like staying really together, kind of looking like a slinky, that's a prop. But Marwa is clearly not using a hoop slinky. She is doing it. All right, well, this was an experience. I think I'm gonna go see how many hoops I have and try them. I think I only have like 10. Let's go see. I have less than I thought I did. I have 8. And this is like the worst sliding ever, but it's fine. I have done this before with more hoops. I have photo evidence, but I haven't been hooping very much lately. This is a lot of hoops, and these are 160 PSI heavy hoops. All right. These are also 42, 43 inch diameter hoops, so they're much bigger than the ones she was using. I'm a little terrified because they're very heavy. Here we go. Okay, I definitely didn't do 3 rotations above the knee. I think I did like 2. Let me try again. 1, 2. I was focusing too hard. Again. Okay, well, and I can do this. They all fell but 2. All right, so this was quite a humbling video for me. I learned a lot of things. I made a fool of myself trying to do multiple hoops at once, but to my credit, they were gigantic. I don't know, having watched this video, it actually gave me a fresh appreciation for the skill of hooping with that many hoops at once. It is annoying for that to be the only thing that anyone ever asks you, but it's also, hard work. And even though that's not a goal that I personally have, I have a lot of respect for anyone that works toward that goal. Well, thank you so much for watching this video. I'm Jess Wagstrom, professional dabbler. Today's video was about hooping, but who knows what the next video might be about. I'd like to thank my patrons for being so flippin' awesome. If you want to support me on Patreon, there's a link in the description. There's lots of cool perks, including hoop-related perks. And if you have any questions or comments about this video, please leave them. Thank you so much for watching today. I'm Jess Wagstrom. I hope you're having a beautiful day, and I will see you the next time I make a video. Goodbye!